Good morning. We're going to start side dressing some corn this afternoon, but first thing this morning we've got some corn to spray. We are going to voluntarily kill off our corn, and it's going to be weird and high stress and just weird. But anyway, Dad bought us a set of new nozzles for the sprayer to do this, some flat fans. So I'm getting them set up, but we're having a little issue. So we've got these nozzles here, and this is the actual nozzle that the chemical comes out of. See, there's different types for different flow rates and patterns and that kind of stuff, and you got to put them in these caps, and this nozzle fits in there. But we have two different styles, just a little bit different. Well, these nozzles do not fit in this style. That's for a different one, and there is a whole box of them that are wrong. Great. All right, there's our nozzles. We had enough old brown caps. Can you tell the difference? From some of the other applications that we have used to complete a set. They're all even the same color. Like, there was some blue and some red mixed in with the old brown ones on the other one, so at least that's nice. Dad called our supplier where we got these and said, hey, you guys sent us the wrong stuff. And, well, I won't call them out by name because apparently they're watching, so good morning, gentlemen. And they did make it right. They're going to send us, they're actually going to, Dad wanted to get the rest of that set to complete it, the rest of the set of the wrong ones, because we do use these caps for different type of nozzles. And he's even going to buy new nozzles to put in those because the ones that we have been running, I think, are 10 years old. And, well, they do wear, and he doesn't replace them very often. So we're going to get a new set of nozzles there. So that's good. I believe there's 96 on there. Dad's currently taking off another set of older ones that are just ones that we're not going to use anymore this year. And we're going to put these ones on, and then we're going to get stuff mixed up and ready to go. Okay, we've got all our new nozzles on, and we are ready to load the sprayer up. It is perfect spraying conditions right now. There's no wind, it's warm, sun's out. We need to get this done because it's supposed to get windy later today. Power ladder. We'll get a better one later. Anyway, so the herbicides we are using today, we are using Gramoxone SL 3.0. This stuff is not to be taken lightly. There is sometimes with glyphosate we get a little lax on our PPE. We're not today. Mask, gloves, this stuff is not something to be taken lightly. So we're going to use that. We're going to add some Sencor or some Metribuzin to it to make the absorption into the plant better. We're also going to use some non-ionic surfactants to help with that. So I'm not going to film mixing this stuff because I'm going to be focused on making sure that I'm being safe and doing this right. So I'm going to go ahead and get loaded up, and then we'll go from the cab. I'll show you where we're at. Oh, yeah. All right, we are mixed up and ready to go. So we're going to go spray this out. We've got enough to do 80 acres. We planted 88. We're going to spray 80 because it's enough. Phil's got us some tanks around. He's hauling those, so when we get back, we'll worry about Anhydrous stuff. But we got to get this sprayed right now, and I'm not looking forward to it because we're going to actually go and spray corn that we planted. Like, we're killing an actively growing crop. Not fun. This is so weird. All right, so we are following the split from our planter pass, trying to stay right in the middle of two passes that were planted side by side, and we're spraying off any of this corn. So like there's a little bit of corn in here, and this chemical mix will kill it. And that is the goal. But like over there in the next pass where we did not replant and the corn looks good, we don't want to kill it. So we got to really pay attention to where the planter was in the ground and where it wasn't, and turn the nozzles on and off. And this is all manual control. We're just doing the best we can here. We've made it around the perimeter of the field, so now we're going back and forth. So like right here, we stop. So I'm going to shut the boom off. We're going to shut it off a little early, let everything stop dripping. Now we're driving across good corn, not spraying, relatively good corn. Good corn here, and then right there, we start again. So when we get to it, we turn our nozzles back on. It just comes up to the top of this ridge where it stops. Shut it back off. drive across, it's just this, over and over and over. You can see I'm trying to keep that boom as low as possible. We're not driving real fast. We're not using super high gallons. We're trying to keep our pressures fairly low and no chances for drift. Okay, I wanted to get out and look at what we're doing and show you a little bit, but I wanted to get far enough away from anything that I've just sprayed that I'm not breathing in any vapors or mist or anything. So let me show you what we're doing and explain and get a picture of my sprayer. So this is the field that we just replanted corn in on Monday. And you can see in this spot that we're standing right here, there was no need to replant. This corn is beautiful. That's why we didn't replant the whole field, because we have approximately 40 acres of corn that looks like this that was not something you wanted to kill and take out and start over with. It's great, okay? But walk with me this way a little bit. Now, our planter did a little bit of damage to our existing stand, but look in here where we have big gaps where there wasn't really anything. And there was a little bit more here that the planter, that plant may or may not be dead, but some of these survived, and then there was nothing for a while, and it just, yeah. That's why we replanted, and there are spots much worse than what we're standing in here. You know, there's a spot right there that I can see from here. There was just nothing. And so now what my concern becomes, I planted a whole new stand of corn in here, right? And it's all going to come up. It should be fairly even. It should come up really nicely because it's warm. We've got plenty of moisture. It's going to grow fast versus the stuff that was planted when it was cold and it just took a long time to come up, and then we got rain and it crusted, and we shouldn't have any of those issues. Generally, the later planted crops come out of the ground pretty well. But look at all of these plants that we've got here. Those are going to outcompete. See, like that one row there was fine. The row next to it was not. So we ended up replanting some stuff that had a good stand, and what I'm worried about is the existing stuff that survived outcompeting the new stand, and then you've got some really good ears and you've got a bunch of really crappy stuff that was later, and so we're just going to take it out. And that's what we're spraying right now, is a herbicide that will kill all of this existing corn that is now going to be 3 growth stages ahead of the new planted corn, but at the same time, not a good enough stand, too thin to produce a good crop. And so we don't want it to outcompete our replant that we think is going to be a better crop. That's the idea here. That's what we're doing, and why we're out here. So yeah, so we're spraying this, and the gramoxone, the chemical that we have in there, is a contact herbicide that will kill basically anything that it comes in contact with in a good coverage amount. And that's what we're trying to do to these. It's also why we waited 2 days and didn't come and do this right after we replanted, because you'll remember some of these were kind of covered up with dirt, and now you can see any of them that are going to live have kind of sprung back. They're growing back up and uncovered, and they can take the chemical. All right, well, we got done spraying everything the first time, and I am doing a rinse cycle. We're actually going to do a couple of rinse cycles and try and get all this chemical out of here, because the next thing we're going to spray is going to be more wheat, and it'll kill the wheat, so we got to get it cleaned out really well. So right now we're spraying out the rinsate from the first rinse, but again, I have to only spray it where we sprayed the first time and just kind of overlap stuff. It's mostly water at this point, but there might be enough chemical in it to kill some corn, or at least stunt some corn that we don't want to stunt. So we kind of got to drive back over some stuff and spray it out. Like right here. Now we can turn it on, spray until either the tank runs empty, or we just, keep going until we get it done. Oh, all right. That application is done. Power ladder. There was better. Okay. That took longer than I anticipated. And so now I have to go return that trailer that I used to help Anna move yesterday. So we're going to go do that, and then we're going to come back and start the Anhydrous. Okay, I'm back. I got a haircut. So we're going to go side dress some corn here. We've got a little bit of PPE stuff we need to get around before we start. We need to find a decent pair of gloves. I thought I bought a pair of gloves specifically for this purpose. Let's see what I can find. Well, we're just going to use these. Those will be fine. They'll keep it from burning me if I get some splashed on my hands, but you should have insulated ones because of the protect from the cold. It'll be okay. I also got new cartridges for our respirator. So Anhydrous is an inhalation hazard. We'll talk more about safety issues as we go here, but we're starting with fresh cartridges. I try to do that every year. Okay, let's put this in the tractor and go hook up to a tank. Started right off with a big one, I guess. Phil brought me first, so we'll get the hitch hooked up and then we'll worry about our hose. All right, I got everything hooked up here. I went through and made sure all of our bleeders are closed because we opened them all up to drain them. Like that knob there. There's one up on the front. There's a couple on the hose. So we are ready to pressure test everything, meaning open the valves. All right, well, we got our valve open. We've got pressure up to the control valve, our coolers and stuff over there, but not through them because we got to get those to open up first. So we're going to go out back behind the barns, away from all the buildings and people, and figure out which way the wind is blowing and get upwind of it, unfold it, and then we'll do a bleed test or something and make sure everything looks like it's going to work, but it sure appears like everything is going to work just fine. All right, we are going to do a bleed section test. So we're going to turn on section 1. We're going to override the height switch, turn our master on, and then when I hit the start button, it should flow out down that end there. Maybe. Maybe not. Do we have a valve somewhere that I missed? The section valve opened. Master did not. Okay, let's try a different test. Let's try and just energize the system. Okay. We're not getting flow. I got a valve closed somewhere yet. We'll go out and check. Yeah, I missed one on the tanks, the one right behind where we hook up. I opened the ones on each individual tank, but not the... Yeah, anyway, let's try this again. Section test down there, start. And still nothing. Okay. What am I doing wrong? Now we're getting it. There we go. Section 3. Didn't open. Oh yeah, it did. All right. Well, we've got it about primed. Oh my. Well, we are starting out on a good note today. Well, it was going okay actually, and then I was having trouble getting my auto steer to work because it still thought that I had an implement receiver for implement guidance, which I don't. And it took me a while to figure out how to turn that off. I did get it. And now we're doing ends. We got the ends on the other end of the field done, and we were going along here, and all of a sudden I noticed one of my rows didn't look right, blowing a bunch of smoke on the top of the ground. And we've got a broken bolt. The whole boot fell off, so we got to go up to the shop and get a bolt. So we're, what, an acre into this? Oh no, it says 4.6 acres into this. Oh, all right, well, you know. So we got to go fix that. See that black spot? That's where we did our bleed test. Burnt our grass already. Well, here's our problem. Now, how do I get that bolt out of there? I'm gonna have to cut it. That bolt's right through there. Yeah, that bolt that broke. So, I'm trying to make sure I got the right stuff. I don't know if that's the right bolt or not. It's a good thing it's super early and I'm not in a hurry. I got that bolt out. I was looking through trying to find one. Those ones that I found, I don't know, did I show you those? They were not the right ones. They were too big. And I don't have any of this size bolt. I think it's a M10. I don't know, it's an 18 millimeter head. Close to a 3/4 inch bolt, or head bolt, 1/2 inch bolt. I don't have any of the metric and the right length. I have one or two that are way too long. and I would never get them to tighten up. Even with a bunch of washers, there'd be stuff in the way, so that isn't going to work. I have a few that are too short, which clearly doesn't work. I have some 3/4 inch bolts that are the right length that are dang close, but they just oversized and won't fit through the hole. So we're going to go to the hardware store and get some, and we're going to buy a few. This is a bolt that I've never broke before on this bar, so you can yell at me for not having them on hand, but I've never needed one before, so not a big deal. Like I said, we're not in a hurry. It's plenty early. We got time. It'll be okay. All right, well, I got some bolts, and we got that boot put back on. We've got to... We should zip tie that up somewhere, somehow, something, so it's not flopping around. Or maybe just pull it back through a little bit. There. That'll work. That one kind of hangs low too, doesn't it? That's all right. Anyway, we're good to go back to the field. Okay, well, we've got stuff running again here. I've got the end rows done, and we're going to do the main part of the field here. And I want to try something. So, you guys remember in the past where I've talked about, you know, how we're putting the Anhydrous on, and we have a 15 shank applicator, but we're planting 60 foot, but it used to be 40 foot, and it just, we always matched the 40 foot passes. So we're putting a rate and a half on our outside rows so that we basically are doubling it up. So this row here and this row here got 1.5 times rate, and then we skip this. And the idea is that these rows are pulling all their nitrogen from the one side instead of from both sides. But in my row by row strip trialing stuff that I have done in the past, I have often found that those outside rows suffer a little bit, maybe 7 to 10 bushel, could be 20 bushel difference, and I think that a lot of that has to do with the nitrogen. So what we decided we're going to try this year is I have a valve on my distributor here for row 1 and row 17. Oh, those were off. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Okay. Well, we didn't put a rate and a half on then, at least on that side. Oh, geez. Well, we're going to close them, and we're going to go 37.5 feet. We're only going to do 15 rows instead of trying to do 16 rows at a time. And we're not going to follow the planter tire tracks, but so what? Now, this side was on, the other one was not. Okay. Well, what are you going to do? Anyway, so we're going to try that, and I'm going to go into my monitor and tell it that, hey, we're only 37.5 feet wide instead of 40 feet wide. We're not going to skip a row, and hopefully this works out a little bit better. Okay, we're getting this figured out. All looks to be pretty good. That row there, we've got just a little bit of gas coming up, but it's not bad. I like the job we're doing. I like how it looks. It's plenty dry. Let's just run for a while. Okay, well, we're doing pretty good here. Everything seems to be working okay. Every now and then I get a line that acts up, like 13 right now, but I know that 13's putting on, and 7 was, and now it's fine, and I don't really know. So maybe when we get up to the shop, we'll run some air through some stuff or whatever. But it's nice having this second monitor here with my rate controller and stuff up there. In fact, we can probably redo some of this because I don't really need that map screen there, because now I can watch it here. When I didn't have that second screen, I had to watch it all on one. That was kind of the screen that I watched. But now we have 2, and it works really well. And we are cruising. We're able to go 9 to 9.5 miles an hour. And the only thing is my ends are rough, so I slow way down on the ends. We're not bouncing around so bad. Doing 15 rows and 37.5 feet seems to be working pretty well. We're never in the same tracks from the planter, but like this time that one's going to follow a sprayer track. Sometimes we're on one, sometimes we're not, but it just, you know, we're kind of working our way across planter passes and never in the same rows like we were last year, where we were always following the same tracks as what the tractor and planter went into. But that's okay. If we were still doing 40-foot planter widths, I would probably leave it at 40 foot. But given that we're 60-foot planter and 40-foot anhydrous bar, the difference between 40 and 37.5 doesn't matter to me. So I think this is agronomically more sound. The only issue with it is you know, we've got more tracks across the field, and we've got tracks now where, you know, this is the middle of a planter pass. There was nothing run there before, and so now we're running a tractor tire on it and maybe causing a little bit of compaction. Although our soil is pretty dry right now, compaction is not a huge concern. That's crazy. Crazy. But it's working. It's doing it, and it's sealing fantastically. Those ones in the center there, I had to adjust the down pressure. There's a couple of knobs right there that you can change how much pressure, the hydraulic down pressure on each, on the main frame versus the wings. And the main frame, for some reason, had gotten turned way down. I noticed the gauge wheels weren't even turning in certain situations, which means they were not being pushed down into the ground enough. As soon as I turned that up, started sealing much better. Haven't had any issues. Oh, it's one of those days. One of those startup days. Okay, so we were cruising right along. We were doing just fine. And then that opener that we just fixed a broken bolt on, it broke again. Same problem, bolt bent. I'm like, well, what the heck's going on? So we brought it up to the shop and decided I needed to tear into it a little bit farther. And I found the problem. It was a bigger problem than I realized the first time, which is why it broke the second time. So it's this bolt right here that's been broke or bent on me. And that bolt just attaches, you know, it comes out down here. This thing is just in the way where you can't see anything. But basically, it holds this black piece in place, and that is what holds our boot in place. Now, I was taking that apart and getting it put back together, and then I realized that there was a bolt right here, but there was not on the other side. That bolt, the head broke off, and that is what keeps that thing from pivoting, right? Like this one kind of holds it in place, and then that one holds it from bending that bolt, and that's what was the problem. It broke the first time, and I didn't catch it and fix it, and that's why we broke the bolt the second time. Great, so we got all that put back together and fixed. Now here's the problem. There's a bolt that goes in here that pushes this boot up against the disc, and I lost it because I had taken it out in the field trying to put that stuff back on there. That boot had fallen off trying to put it back on, and then realized that I had bigger problems, and I drove it up here and it fell out on the way up. And we don't have one of those. So Phil is on his way to the John Deere dealer to go and get one. They had one in stock. So we're going to claim that, and that'll get us up and running tonight. We're going to get these tanks empty yet. We haven't got our first set empty yet, but we'll get there. We'll get there. First day. It's okay. The corn's still small. We got time. Okay, where are we at? Well, our tanks are empty. Phil got that bolt. We got it put back on and ran this tank empty. We did a total of 42 acres out here. So a good day. Good start for having multiple breakdowns. I apologize for not filming any of that. I was having a very good phone conversation with a good friend of mine. So that's what happened. Anyway, I'm going to unhook this tank so we can get it taken back in the morning. We'll grab this one right here, and we'll go again tomorrow. All right, guys. Oh, we got to go check our emergence flagging. See if we need to flag some corn tonight. Anyway, we're gonna wrap this up. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. If you have any questions and comments, leave them down below. A decently successful day. A little frustrating, but a decently successful. So it did get really windy this afternoon. I am glad we sprayed what we did when we did, so that we don't have to worry about wind. Dad went to Berkey today. He said the wheat down there needs a few days yet before we go down and spray it. So that's good. And he said our beans down there look great. Like, we're in really good shape. So no bean replants down there. Phil did want to go and look around here tomorrow. So we'll probably spend a little bit of time checking out some fields up here. All right, let's go look at our corn real quick and then wrap it up. They did not make it today. It was a little cooler, cooled down, and it's supposed to be kind of chilly tomorrow, so things are growing just a little bit slower. Here's the one that we uncovered yesterday. Let's see if we can find the next one. How far do we have to dig? Right there. Oh, it's right there. Look at that. Right there. They're very close, but not enough to say emergence today. Check again tomorrow.